Yema. If you know you're better with another.
Hey beautiful people, hope you all are doing very well today. Welcome back to the Young Black and Independent Show, where we discuss a variety of topics to help young black folks live lives that are spiritually fulfilled, lives that are value added, lives that are less materialistic, and lives that are financially independent. Please give me a second, I'll change the music. The reason why I started with fun music is because I want today's conversation to be more fun, enough of the whining and vexing and all that. I'm your host, Hussle, by the way, and I'm glad to have you today. So I wanted us to talk about using one's talent. Using one's talent. Yeah. I'm very fond of the topic around, or any conversation around, financial independence, because I know how pertinent it is to one's overall well-being. If you have your money, honestly, you're in a much better place than so many other people who don't. And so I bring conversations, or I raise topics about money because contrary to the general myth that money is the root of all evil, it just isn't. Money is the source of all happiness, actually. What can you do without money in the world in which we live? Even the apostles in the Old and New Testament, they needed money. Do you guys remember Job? Job was terribly rich. He was so wealthy. And yet, he was God's favorite man. Like, God donned him some Job, like he loved Job. And he told Satan, don't touch him. You can do everything to him, but his soul is mine. But Job was very wealthy, the Bible tells us. So there ain't nothing wrong with money. On the contrary, you need to have so much money and be in the position of Job, where you lose everything and you still are humble and obedient to God. That's true love and reverence for God. Not the one we see today because we are broke, we go pray morning, afternoon, evening, and all that. Nah. God sees through us, He sees through us. He looks at our heart and our intentions. That's why I talk about finance a lot, Call me a money lover, I don't care. If you don't love money, go to the store and try and buy some bread or some milk and see if he's going to take your smile as a medium of exchange. And see if he's going to take your words as a medium of exchange. No, he's going to take your money. And if you don't have money, keep walking. I remember a friend saying to me, oh, Sylvie, you're always talking about money. It's always money, money, money for you. Interesting. And I'm looking at this individual who said this to me, and they don't have a penny in the bank. Of course, it's an issue if I'm always talking about money. Our objectives, our vision for life is not the same. You depend on your man to give you money. I depend on myself to finance the things that I love, the things that I want to do, the projects that I want to fulfill. Yeah, that's the difference. So I'm not going to take money advice from someone like that. I want to take money advice from someone who is a bird of the same feather as myself. We'll definitely flock together. A lot of us have talents, amazing talents. I'll tell you a bit of, I'll give you a bit of a backdrop about my story. and how I used my talent to start making some cash early on, very early on in my life. I'm not that old, but you know what they say, don't ask a woman for her age. We just don't like to talk about that thing because we don't want to get old. So my father died. I'm sure you've heard this over and over, but it shaped my life, so I really cannot not talk about it. My father died when I was 16. I was in secondary school. I was going to write my A-levels the very next academic year when my father had a car accident, and I never saw him again except in his gasket. Was a life-changing moment. You know how it is in movies when when you I don't know if you've ever seen any movie where you knock your head and you wake up in another world and you're like, where am I? Is this my new reality? Like, what's going on here? This is what happened to me. I was very close to my father. He was my everything, our everything. The breadwinner, the provider, the loving, fantastic, protective daddy, best daddy in the world, super generous, amazing human being. My father was just special. And he left without saying goodbye. He just disappeared. He disappeared. And I was I was thrown into another world which I never knew existed, full of wolves in sheep clothing. Very dangerous for girls, for young girls. Very dangerous world. So many people, including my father's friends, wanted to sleep with me. They wanted to corrupt me. They wanted to ruin my life with their selfish desires. But the one thing that saved me was my upbringing and my desire to succeed, to make my father proud. My dad was a successful businessman. I wanted to make him proud. I wanted his legacy to live on. However, my father had forced me to do accounting. That dude, he wanted me to become an accountant for his company, and he told this to me in plain English: if you do not pass accounting as a specialty for your O and A levels, you will repeat these exams as many times as I can afford. And trust me, he could afford it for my lifetime. And I said, oh my goodness, I've got to pass this accounting. But I wasn't a natural figures person. I just really hated figures. I really did. I didn't like it at all. I passed, no problem. But when I went to university, you know how it is. I was going to boarding school. You know how it is at boarding school. You've got food, everything. You know, once your tuition is paid, you're sorted, more or less, except for visiting Sundays here and there where you need to replenish your chocolate, your milk, whatever. When I left boarding school and I went to uni, wow, welcome to the real world. Welcome to the real world. I was faced with life as most people, not everyone, but as most people know it. From the comfort of my daddy's providence, from the comfort of boarding school structure, I needed to use my natural talent to navigate the world. How did I start making money? I realized that I'm good at selling. And I got into network marketing. Yeah, I got into network marketing. And I started selling stuff. Supplements, to be precise, from the US. There's a network marketing scheme, an old one in Cameroon known as Forever Living Products. I used to do Forever Living Products. When I got into Forever Living, I scaled up so fast, so quickly. I made around $2,000 in my first month of sales. Like, what? I was like, where have you been all my life? Selling. I really wanted to do marketing back in school, but my dad won't let me. And then I realized that this is my natural talent, that I'm a people's person. It's easy for me to talk to people. It's easy for me to convince people, especially when I believe in something. I go all out. I try to be as genuine as possible, and I think that it cuts through in the marketing world. So I was selling stuff. And then the next job I had, I was working, but I was still selling stuff. I always had my side hustle. And I was amazed how easy it was for me to sell things. And I just realized that, hey, this is my talent. This is what God has put inside me. I best make it work for me. And I used to have some cash here and there. I was really young, but I used to have some cash here and there. I'm not going to say the amount, but I had some cash, seriously. So the question today is, what's your talent? What can you do effortlessly? What do you like doing? What makes you, what gives you butterflies? Not love. What gives you butterflies when it comes to doing something that earns you some money, some cash? What is that one thing that you do so happily, that you can do all day, every day without complaining? That's your talent. That's your gift. Do you know how to braid? Do you love braiding people's hair? Do you love to see people with lovely looking, fantastic Ghanaian braids or whatever? Do you love to transport people? Do you love driving people around? Do you love plants? Do you love nature? Are you passionate about healthy eating? Is that something that, catches your fancy? The British man will say, what's your cup of tea? What's your cup of tea? What makes you really happy? Not a boring, like most of us, boring jobs. I hated finance, but I was in it for so many years. I really hated it. But I love to sell. I love it. Even though I had a finance job, I was doing what I loved, which was selling. I was selling stuff and racking in some extra cash. So I'll end today's podcast with, what's your cup of tea? What catches your fancy? What can you do effortlessly all day, every single day without complaining? That's your talent. If no one told you, I'm telling you today, that's your talent. Go and make it work for you. You don't need to do much. Just consistency, discipline, and some efforts. You can strategize. If you want to get more money out of it, you can start reading books, building strategies to upskill your talent, or, the whatever small business that you start. If it's knitting stuff, cleaning, what's your talent? Some people who are so good at cleaning and they love it. I'm really good at organizing as well. I love interior decor. I think it's one of my talents. I should explore it. I was talking to my sister and she said, "Oh, sis, you're really good at interior decor. You should explore it." Maybe I will. Maybe. But I love a lovely looking space. Every time people walked into my home, they would say, "Oh, this is so beautiful. I love the colors. I love the curtains. I love. I'm like that, into details." What's your talent? Can be anything. Anything that people are willing to pay you money for, you should start using it. We're all about financial independence, remember? Okay, so I'll stop right there for today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please send it to a friend so that they can discover their own talent and start making money for themselves. You can also read more articles about this on youngandindependent.com. So www.youngandindependent.com. And you can follow us on Facebook to tell us what your talent is, to join the community, Young and Independent Community. And we have another group on Facebook. It's Young and Independent People. You can post your stuff there, but all things financial independence only, no gossips. Thank you. I do wish you a lovely day. And until next time, take care. Bye-bye.